एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। यस्यान्तर्नादिमध्यं न हि करचरणं नाम गोत्रं न सूत्रं नो जातिर्नैव वर्णं न भवति पुरुषो नो नपुंसं न च स्त्री नाकारं नो विकारं न हि जननमरणं नास्ति पुण्यं न पापं नो तत्त्वं तत्त्वमेकं सहजसमरसं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। चैतन्यं शाश्वतं शान्तं व्योमातीतं निरञ्जनं नादबिन्दुकलातीतं तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। अज्ञानमूलहरणं जन्मकर्मनिवारणं ज्ञानवैराग्यसिद्ध्यार्थं गुरोपादोदकं पिबे अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय गुरुवे सच्चिदानन्दमूर्तये निष्प्रपञ्चाय शान्ताय निरालम्बाय तेजसे नित्यशुद्धं निराभासं निराकारं निरञ्जनं नित्यबोधं चिदानन्दं गुरुं ब्रह्मा नमाम्यहम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। निधये सर्वविद्यानां विषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ श्री सद्गुरुदेव की जय। जय गणेश पाहि मां श्री गणेश श्री गणेश श्री गणेश रक्ष मां। जय सरस्वती जय सरस्वती पाहि मां श्री सरस्वती श्री सरस्वती रक्ष मां। जय श्री दुर्गा पाहि मां जय श्री दुर्गा रक्ष मां। जय श्री काली पाहि मां जय श्री काली रक्ष मां। जय श्री लक्ष्मी पाहि मां जय श्री लक्ष्मी रक्ष मां। सर्वन भव पाहि मां सुब्रह्मण्य रक्ष मां। दत्तात्रेय पाहि मां दत्तगुरु रक्ष मां। शिवानन्द पाहि मां शिवानन्द रक्ष मां। जय गुरु शिव गुरु हरि गुरु राम जगद्गुरु परम गुरु सद्गुरु श्याम आदि गुरु अद्वैत गुरु आनंद गुरु ओम। जय गुरु संयम दान विविध दीने, गुरु बिन ज्ञान न होए, तोते जतन कीने। जय देव गुरुदेव, जय देव गुरुदेव। माया मोहन दी जल जीव बहे सारी, ज्ञान जहाज बिकाकर गुरुपद में तारी। जय देव गुरुदेव, जय देव गुरुदेव। काम क्रोध मद मत्सर चोर बहे भारी, ज्ञान कद कदे कर में गुरु सब संहारी। जय देव गुरुदेव, जय देव गुरुदेव। नाना पंथ जगत में निज निज गुण गावे, सबका सार बताकर गुरु मार्ग लावे। जय देव गुरुदेव, जय देव गुरुदेव। गुरु चरणामृत निरमल सब पातक हारी, वचन सुनत तम नाशे सब संशयकारी। जय देव गुरुदेव, जय देव गुरुदेव। तन मन धन सब अर्पण गुरु शरणन कीजे, शिवानंद परम पद मोक्ष गति दीजे। जय देव गुरुदेव, जय देव गुरुदेव। ओम जय गुरुदेव दयानिधि दीनन हितकारी। जय जय मोह विनाशक भवबंधनहारी। जय देव गुरुदेव, जय देव गुरुदेव। O Lord of mercy and love, salutations and prostrations unto thee. Thou art omnipresent, omnipotent and omniscient. Thou art Satchidananda. Thou art the indweller of all beings. Grant us an understanding heart, equal vision, balanced mind, faith, devotion and wisdom. Grant us inner spiritual strength to resist temptations and to control the mind. Free us from egoism, lust, greed, anger and hatred. Fill our hearts with divine virtues. Let us behold thee in all these names and forms. Let us serve thee in all these names and forms. Let us ever remember thee. Let us be ever loyal to thee. Let us ever sing thy glories. Let thy name be renowned of us. Let us abide in thee forever and ever. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. O merciful Gurudev, every thought of my mind, every emotion of my heart, every movement of my being, every feeling and every sensation, each cell of my body, each drop of my blood, all is yours, Gurudev, yours absolutely, yours without any reserve. Gurudev, you can decide my life or my death, my happiness or my sorrow, my pleasure or my pain. Gurudev, whatever you do with me, whatever comes to me from you, will lead me to your lotus feet. Gurudev, You have provided us the best facilities in the world for our spiritual growth. May we take full advantage of this precious gift of yours, Gurudev. May we look upon the ashram and all its contents as your body and treat them with love and reverence. This is our heartfelt prayer to you, Gurudev. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sivananda Dinabandhu Pahima Deva Deva Sivananda Dinabandhu Pahima Chandravadana Mandahasa Premarupa Lakshma Chandravadana Mandahasa Premarupa Lakshma Madhura Gita Ganelola Jnanerupa Pahima Madhura Gita Ganelola Jnanerupa Pahima Samastaloka Pujitaya Mohananda Lakshma Samastaloka Pujitaya Mohananda Lakshma Divya Ganga Tiravasa Ganeshila Pahima Divya Ganga Tiravasa Ganeshila Pahima Papaharana Punyashila Parama Purusha Lakshma Papaharana Punyashila Parama Purusha Lakshma Bhaktaloka Yajavasa Swaminada Pahima Bhaktaloka Yajavasa Swaminada Pahima Chiksarupa Chidananda Namah Shivaya Lakshma Sarupa Chidananda Namah Shivaya Lakshma Sivananda 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 Pahima Sivananda 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 Pahima Sivananda, Sivananda, Sivananda Lakshma Sivananda, Sivananda, Sivananda Lakshma Satguru Jaya Satguru Jaya Satguru Jaya Pahima Satguru Jaya Satguru Jaya Satguru Jaya Pahima Satguru Bhagirati, 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 Lakshma. Deva Deva, Shivananda, Dinabandhu, Parima. Deva Deva, Shivananda, Dinabandhu, Parima. Chandravardhana, Mandahasa, Prema Rupa, Lakshma. Chandravardhana, Mandahasa, Prema Rupa, Lakshma. Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai 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 Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Bhagavan Shivananda, Jai Jai Ram, Bhagavan Shivananda, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Bhagavan Shivananda, Jai Jai Ram, Bhagavan Shivananda, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Bhagavan Shivananda, Jai Jai Ram, Bhagavan Shivananda, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Bhagavan Shivananda, Jai Jai Ram, Bhagavan Shivananda, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Bhagavan Shivananda, Jai Jai Ram, Bhagavan Shivananda, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Bhagavan Shivananda, Jai Jai Ram, Bhagavan Shivananda, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Harana Bhagavai Darunam Shri Ram Shri प्रेम की गंगा Rama
वंदो गुरु पद कंज कृपा सिंधु नर रूप हरि महामोहतम पुंज जासु वचन रवि कर निकर वर्षा ऋतु रघुपति भगति तुलसी साल सुदास राम तुलसी साल सुदास राम नाम बर बरन जुग सावन बारव मास रामा सावन बारव मास सियावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरण शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम। राम नाम मन दीप धरु जी हरे हरिद्वार राम जी हरे हरिद्वार तुलसी भीतर बाहर रहु जो चाहस उजियार राम जो चाहस उजियार सियावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरण शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम। सकल कामना हीन जय राम भगत रस लीन राम राम भगत रस लीन नाम सुप्रेम पीयूष हृदय तिन्हु किय मन लीन रामा तिन्हु किय मन लीन सियावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरण शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम। ब्रह्म राम ते नाम वरदायक वरदान रामा वरदायक वरदान रामचरित सतकोटि मह लिय महेश जिय जान रामा लिय महेश जिय जान सियावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरण शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम। नाम राम को कल्पतरु कलि कल्याण निवास राम कलि कल्याण निवास जो सुमिरत भय भांगते तुलसी तुलसीदास रामा तुलसी तुलसीदास सियावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरण शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम। राम नाम नर केसरी कनक कसिप कनिकाल रामा कनक कसिप कनिकाल व्यापक जन प्रहलाद जिनि पाल ही गल सुरसाय राम पाल ही गल सुरसाय सियावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरण शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम। राम अनंत अनंत गुण अमित कथा विस्तार राम अमित जान। सियावर रामचंद्र पति जय शरण, शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम। राम कथा सुर प्रेम सम, सेवक सब सुख दान। राम सेवक सब सुख दान। सत समाज सुर लोक सब, कौन सुने असि जान। रामा कौन सुने असि जान। सियावर रामचंद्र पति जय शरण, शंकर हरि ओम जय जय सिया राम। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय।
Om. We'd like to appeal to all devotees to please come forward closer to the shrine so that we can make allowance for the others to come in rather than going to the spillover halls. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Sivanandaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sivanandaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sivanandaya. My loving salutations, adorations and prostrations at the lotus feet of our Divine Master, Sri Swami Sivananda, our revered Pujai Swami Sahajananda, and my salutations to each one of you. In the name of our Divine Master, Sri Swami Sivananda, and beloved Pujai Swami Sahajananda, I extend a very warm welcome to each one of you to this most auspicious Guru Purnima Satsang. We accord a special welcome to all those that have come for the first time and those that have come from afar. Those that have come for the first time, please call at our bookstall after Satsang for a gift pack of literature. We are happy to have with us this evening many donors, well-wishers, devotees from our branches across the country, devotees from temples and sister organizations, and new devotees who are joining us for the first Guru Purnima Satsang. We welcome also all those that are currently watching this program via live streaming. Guru Purnima, the most auspicious day in the calendar of spiritual seekers, is celebrated the world over to worship and offer gratitude and appreciation to the spiritual masters for their guidance, spiritual wisdom, and enlightenment. It is the day when seekers take stock of themselves and, very importantly, make fresh resolves to aid them on the spiritual path. Today, we pay homage and gratitude to our Divine Master, Sri Swami Sivananda, who is an ocean of love, compassion, and mercy, and who continues to shower his grace upon us all. Sri Swami Vishwanandaji, who is the Guru of our Gurudev, and to beloved Pujai Swamiji for his love, warmth, and spiritual sustenance he has given us. Today also marks the birth anniversary of the great sage Vyasa. Our Divine Master, Sri Swami Shivananda states, Sri Vyasa rendered unforgettable service to humanity for all times by editing the 4 Vedas and writing the 18 Puranas, the Mahabharata and the Srimad Bhagavata. We can repay the deep debt of gratitude we owe him only by constant study of his works and practice of his teachings. The same can be said for our Divine Master, who gave the truths of our ancient heritage in the most simple and easy to understand manner through hundreds of books written in English. We also pay our obeisance to our Brahma Vidya Gurus who have continued the flame of our glorious Hindu Dharma and guided millions of devotees on the pathway to God by Guru Parampara, which is the uninterrupted succession of Gurus. In Hindu fast and festivals, Gurudev writes, this day of worship of one's preceptor is a day of pure joy to the sincere spiritual aspirant, thrilled by the expectation of offering the reverent homage to the beloved Guru. Aspirants await this occasion with eagerness and devotion. It is the Guru alone who breaks the binding cords of attachment and releases the aspirant from the trammels of earthly existence. The Guru is the only real guarantee for the individual to transcend the bondage of sorrow and death, of pain and misery, and experience the bliss and peace of the reality. The Guru is the standing witness to the all-pervading self. He is the representation of the Lord on earth, and through worship of him, one attains the Supreme Self. We in Divine Life Society of South Africa are extremely blessed that Gurudev has given us Guru Bhakti Yoga as a yoga for us to follow. Pujya Swami Sahajananda was a perfect example of how Guru Bhakti should be practiced and proved throughout his life the efficacy of faith, devotion, surrender, and loyalty to Gurudev. Gurudev says, a true disciple is one who serves his Guru till the end of his life. If the disciple survives after the Guru gives up his mortal coil, he should lead the remaining portion of his life strictly in accordance with his Guru's instructions and live to preach them to others by practicing them himself. The best form of worship of the Guru is to follow his teachings, to shine as the very embodiment of his teachings, and to propagate his glory and message. This glorious Guru Purnima evening would not be complete without paying tribute to each and every dedicated devotee of our Divine Master, all our donors and well-wishers who contribute and participate in our ashram activities. Pujya Swamiji has done this in his own words, which I quote, open quote. How many hours they spend every week in cleaning and maintaining our ashrams, especially the magnificent Sivananda International Cultural Centre and Sivanandashram, Reservoir Hills. The meticulous manner in which they organize the monthly satsangs and yoga camp programs is also praiseworthy. The beautiful gymnastic drill performances require many hours of hard work during weekends and also weekdays. It is their intense Guru Bhakti alone that is responsible for all this. Individuals sometimes ask or wonder how Divine Life Society of South Africa is able to engage successfully in so many service activities, both social and spiritual. They also question how it finances its projects. The answer to these queries are very simple. It is all due to the grace of our Divine Master, Sri Swami Sivananda. Regarding finance, much of it is derived from the books of our Divine Master, printed and published by the Society. Also, since the very inception of the Society in 1949, generous-hearted well-wishers and patrons from all over the country have been providing substantial financial aid. They continue to do so even today, though the financial situation in our country is not favorable. What a great sacrifice they have been making and are still making for our country. May God and our Divine Master bless them abundantly for peace, protection, and prosperity. Unquote. We are pleased to report that by the grace of Gurudev, all the Society's activities, including our centenary and 70th anniversary celebrations, are progressing well. Our 70th anniversary celebrations will culminate in our Grand Sivananda Conference on the 7th and 8th September 2019, here at the Sivananda International Cultural Centre. The theme of the conference is Swami Sivananda's contribution to South Africa and the world. Please diarize this important event and inform others also. On this auspicious occasion, and in the name of our Divine Master and Pujya Swamiji, let us rededicate our lives in practicing our Gurudev's teachings and serving and promoting the Master's mission. We offer this evening satsang at the feet of our Divine Master, and we pray for peace, protection, good health, and spiritual illumination for all. I'll now read from Guru Bhakti Yoga by Sri Swami Sivananda. Obedience is a precious virtue, because if you try to develop the virtue of obedience, the ego, the arch enemy on the path of self-realization, slowly gets rooted out. Even ordinary action causes great pain. Therefore, on the spiritual path, one must be prepared to subject oneself to some sort of discipline and try to cultivate obedience to the Guru. To have complete obedience to the Guru is a difficult task, but by trying with sincerity, it becomes easy. Obedience to the Guru is greater than worship, garlanding, and other outward manifestations of one's inner bhava or adoration and worshipfulness. Our program for this evening, next we'll have Sri Gurudev's message, which will be read by Sri Nilesh Ramdani, and that will be followed by Puja Swamiji's audio message. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. The reading for today is entitled Surrender and Grace, which is extracted from Bliss Divine by Sri Swami Shivananda. If you want to drink water at the tap, you will have to bend yourself. Even so, if you want to drink the spiritual nectar of immortality, which flows from the holy lips of the Guru, you will have to be an embodiment of humility and meekness. The lower nature of the mind must be thoroughly regenerated. The aspirant says to his preceptor, I want to practice yoga. I want to enter into the superconscious state. I want to sit at your feet. I have given myself to you. But he does not want to change his lower nature and habits, old character, behavior, and conduct. One's individual ego, preconceived notions, pet ideas, prejudices, including selfish interest, should all be given up. All these stand in the way of carrying out the teachings and instructions of one's Guru. Lay bare to your Guru the secrets of your heart. The more you do so, the greater the Guru's sympathy, which means an ascension of strength to you in the struggle against sin and temptation. The aspirant, before he desires the grace of the Master, should deserve it. The supply of divine grace comes only when there is a real thirst in the aspirant and when he is fit to receive it. The grace of the Guru descends upon those who feel utterly humble and faithful to him. Faith is confidence and trust in the Guru. Faith is firm conviction of the truth of what is declared by the preceptor by way either of testimony or authority without any other evidence or proof. The disciple who has faith in the Guru does not argue, does not think, does not reason, and does not cogitate. He simply obeys, and obeys. The disciples' self-surrender to the Guru and the Guru's grace are interrelated. Surrender draws down the Guru's grace, and the grace of the Guru makes the surrender complete. The grace of the Guru works in the form of spiritual practice in the aspirant. If an aspirant sticks to the path tenaciously, this is the grace of the Guru. If he resists when temptation assails him, this is the grace of the Guru. If people receive him with love and reverence, this is the grace of the Guru. If he gets all bodily wants, this is the grace of the Guru. If he gets encouragement and strength when he is in despair and despondent, this is the grace of the Guru. If he gets over body consciousness and rests in his own form of bliss, this is the grace of the Guru. Feel his grace at every step and be sincere and faithful to him. Serve your Guru with love. The student can imbibe or draw from his teacher in proportion to his own degree of faith. The grace of the Guru is very necessary. That does not mean that the disciple should sit idle. He should and must do rigorous spiritual practices. All the work must be done by the student. The Guru and the scriptures can show you the path and remove your doubts. Direct experience or direct intuitive knowledge is left for your own experience. A hungry man will have to eat for himself. No doubt, the Guru's blessings can do everything. But how can one have his blessings? This is done by pleasing the Guru. A Guru can be pleased with his disciple only if the latter carries out his spiritual instructions implicitly. Therefore, follow the instructions of your Guru carefully. Act up to his instructions. Only then will you deserve his blessings, which can do everything. A true disciple is one who serves his Guru till the end of his life. If the disciple survives after the Guru has given up his mortal coil, he should lead the remaining portion of his life strictly in accordance with his Guru's instructions and live to preach them to others by practicing them himself. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Hari Om. We apologize for that. But while we're waiting for that to come up, it's my pleasure now to call upon Professor Pubalan to release the 70th anniversary brochure. And while he's doing that, a little bit about Professor. Professor has been with the Divine Love Society for over 40 years. He's a retired board member and currently serves on a number of committees, including the editorial committee, projects committee, functions and Satsang committee, and also administrates the work and progress of the Sewing Center. Om.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sivanandaya. On behalf of our Divine Master, Sri Swami Sivananda and Puja Swamiji Sahajananda, it is my pleasure to release the Platinum Anniversary Brochure as our Guru Purnima offering to our beloved Master. The brochure highlights the service activities of the Society for the past 70 years. We are grateful to the many devotees who worked tirelessly to compile, edit, and print this book. This Guru Purnima offering will furnish readers with new material that was put together in an innovative and creative manner. For instance, in the biography of the Master, we read how the Master wandered from place to place until at last he found a solitary kutir on the banks of the Ganga. A senior disciple of our Master describes this abode for us. Open quote, he showed us this spot during his visit to Swaragashram in 1948. What we saw struck terror into our hearts. A heap of stones and 2 walls. Another heap of stones. Sri Gurudev assured us this heap was almost a wall in those days. No roof was visible except for the green foliage of an overhanging tree. Quite plainly, the kutir must have been crawling with insects and reptiles. It was their natural abode. No one disturbed him because no one dared to venture into that region even during the day. This brochure, along with its attractive pictures, also contains numerous profound thoughts on spirituality and the importance of the Guru. The brochure pays homage to our beloved Gurudev, Sri Swami Sivananda, Puja Swami Sahajananda, Swami Atmananda, and also honors the contributions made by the pioneers of the Society. In the space allocated to expressing our appreciation, we cannot do justice to all the stalwarts of Divine Life Society of South Africa, who made tremendous sacrifices, enduring many hardships as they silently and sincerely promoted the mission of our Divine Master, Sri Swami Sivananda, here in South Africa. On this auspicious 70th anniversary of the Society, we offer our deep gratitude to them for the supportive role they have all played in the growth of the Society. They have done their share. Now it is up to us to walk in their noble footsteps. The future of the Society is in the hands of the Divine Master. However, all devotees, more especially our youth and spiritual darlings, have a significant part to play as is instruments. Their contributions and roles are also included in this brochure. Along with the historic and contemporary photographs, most readers will welcome the beautiful pictures of our Master, many of which haven't featured before in our Society's publications. On behalf of all present here this evening, I convey my deepest gratitude and appreciation to all those devotees who have spent many hours in producing this brochure, in the typesetting, the layout, and the printing. Through their sterling efforts, they have earned the grace of Puja Swamiji and the Master. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. This is the brochure that we are about to release.
We can never say what the saints give us. We might think we're empty-handed, but what is wanted is not this marvelous experience of seeing visions and lights and hearing things and getting emotional. But what is wanted is the inner power, the strength, the power to do our sadhana properly. and do everything thoroughly. From my life we can learn, and Siddhanji's life too, that everything should be done thoroughly, not in a slipshod manner, if we want to realize God. So today we don't seem to have the strength. We do things in a very haphazard manner. Even to clean a table or clean a room is virtually impossible to teach anyone, because the mind is not concentrated. They cannot see what they are doing. I have not met so far one person who can do a job of cleaning thoroughly, because the mind is not concentrated, you see. You might have heard about the great Negro Booker T. Washington in America. He said that when he was a young boy, he went to a lady's house, a European lady's house, and she told him he wanted a job. So she told him to clean the room. And within a few minutes' time, he cleaned the room. And she was not satisfied. She made him go back 7 times. And that was the turning point in Washington's life, when he became one of the greatest Negroes of America. So nothing is gained by this slipshod method and listening half. That's what we find today. You've got to give an instruction about 5 or 6 times to make sure that the person does it. Because there's no receptivity, you see. There's no concentration, the person's mind is somewhere else. So they don't get that concentration power. The Gurudev says you must know how to stick a stamp and how to tie a shoelace, how to brush your teeth. All must be done perfectly, but we do things very haphazardly. So it is the basic reason why the lack of spiritual progress. It's like the story of, the Guru told his disciple to take that rat. See? We cannot look after a little rat today. So we shouldn't complain of lack of spiritual progress when we are not receptive. If an instruction has to be given 10 or 15 times, then it indicates we are not receptive at all. We must be able to catch the hint and take it. So there's a lot that we can learn from the lives of these great people. And all great saints had the same characteristics. They were very thorough in everything that they did. So when they sat for meditation too, they meant business. See? They were tremendously keen and enthusiastic, and they had the will. See, today we don't have the willpower at all. We break down and we fall into traps. And we are very, very weak in our minds. See, we don't have the strength to say no. I often tell the story of, there was a young sadhu in the forest, and one day he was doing a lot of tapas, and all of a sudden he felt the craving for milk. And try as he might, he couldn't get rid of this idea of milk. It overpowered him. So he left the forest, and the desire for milk was so great that he began running at a fast speed to the village. And when he went to the village, he went to a tea room and asked for a bowl of milk. And when the shopkeeper put the bowl of milk there, now he stood there and said, now, my mouth, you drink the milk, but my hands, you're not going to take that milk to the mouth. And for half an hour, he stood there, battling against desire. And in the end, he calmly walked away without drinking that milk. Now here we are so weak. If you tell a person to close that door or put that light off at that time, you can never do it. It'll take about a month. Now I reminded you all to say that Gurudev's name properly in the beginning. Sivananda Kripa. Now you know how many people are still making the mistake? You concentrate and you see you'll be one of them. Because your mind is not concentrated, you see. It hasn't fixed. They don't fix anything in the mind. It just, it just slips off. It goes at a tangent above the head and either through the ear or somewhere, but not inside the heart. This is my experience, because I am the person giving the instructions every day, and I find that I've got to give 10 instructions and keep a check on the 10 people. Remind them twice or thrice. That's where you can never succeed in yoga sadhana, see. It indicates that we are not receptive at all, so knowledge won't come at all. Let us pray for that blessing so that we too might succeed in our spiritual endeavors. We too might put our will. Here's a person who wanted to take her life, and look what she has attained. She's one of the few great saints today in India, besides Ananda Mohima and a few others who are known to the Western world, and a lot of people are going there. We hope that both the saints enjoy many years of good health, so that they can bless all those who come. And Mataji too is very, very strict. Sometimes she'll ban certain disciples that they mustn't come to the ashram. And after 6 months she'll lift the ban. Because the saints don't care about their reputation, and we're terribly afraid what people are going to say and what the public is going to say and so forth. See, but the saints never cared. And there's one thing about Mother Krishna Bai's, a few lessons that we can learn. We should never imitate other people in our sadhana. She too used to try to imitate Swami Ramdas, because Swami Ramdas talks in the third person. So he would not say I, he would say Ramdas. So when Mother Krishna Bhava was in the ashram, she also started imitating Swami Ramdas. And the net result, well, people started laughing at her. So she learned that you must never imitate someone else. And because Swami Ramdas was fasting a lot and he used to go for days without food, she also tried that. And she couldn't succeed in the ashram. So she said, I like to eat, I don't like to fast like Papa. She said, I just had my lunch, but when I heard there's something nice in the kitchen, I went back and had another round. They're free and jolly like the children. They don't try to hide. If they want to eat, they eat. People come, we go to someone's home and we want a cup of tea, but we pretend as if we're above tea. And the poor host has got to ask us so many times, and then when I go to people's house, I ask for a cup of tea if I want it. But I know many people, they want it, but they say no, and so on. That's no good at all. See, we must be free and frank like a little child. See, there shouldn't be any sort of diplomacy and all that when you're hungry and the stomach is pinching inside. So I like that attitude. See, wherever we go, we must be natural and simple. And many other sadhanas that she did, she found that she was finding fault with people. She didn't know how to get rid of that. So she used to go to the bathroom when the person was having a bath, she would take that water and drink it. See? So what I'm trying to tell you is that each one must do their own sadhana. We should not try to do what Mother Krishna Bai is doing, and because she did that and we try to do it, it won't succeed. And Swami Venkateswara put it very beautifully. Gurudev used to go to the Ganges river, and in winter time, Ganges water is ice cold. See, we know. You just have to jump in and jump out. It is so icy cold. And in winter time, he used to go and stand in the Ganges river up to the hip and do his mala, his japa, and only come out when the sun takes a long time because the mountains are high. So you can imagine how many hours he must be spending, about 2 or 3 hours in that, and that gave a perpetual motion of the bowels. See, it destroyed all the digestive system, the lower part of the body. But because Gurudev had a tremendous constitution, he was able to escape. And of course, years later he realized that it was not the right type of tapas. See, Lord Krishna condemns that kind of tapas. And Gurudev too realized that by torturing the body, you cannot gain perfect control. But what it did give him was an enormous willpower, a gigantic willpower. So later on, after the office, if we dared follow him to his room in the hot sun, his heart would melt. He would say, no, go, don't come with me, because the sun is warm. And he never allowed people to fast and do all what he did. But the Swami Venkateswara says that if we try to do what Gurudev did, and stand in the Ganges water like that, the second day we'll start to cough, the third day will be influenza, fourth day we'll call the doctor, fifth day the body is taken to the cremation ground. See? So never try to imitate someone else. Your sadhana must be your own. You must chalk out something yourself. It shouldn't be imposed upon you by someone else. You must find out your own defects and you must evolve your own methods. one of the desert fathers always kept a small pebble in the mouth because he was very fond of talking. See? And that will stop him from talking. It's a good idea if we all keep one. That I would recommend we should. I hope that we all copy at least that desert father. See, we talk too much, and so if we keep a pebble in our mouth, at least that will stop half the talking and half the trouble in the house. So something like that you've got to find out, now this is troubling me, I must evolve my own method, not what so-and-so Ramakrishna did or what Swami Shivananda did. So that's the unique feature about the saints. See, Swami Ramdas, when he was doing tapas for 1 week, there will be no water. He will never have a bath even. See? And even for toilet purposes, he never washed his hand. But the body of such saints are absolutely pure. They have a sweet fragrance from their body. And often, as Swami Ramdas said, that when he used to be above body consciousness, you see, he was never conscious at all about the body and what was happening to it. And they say that when he did come to the towns and villages, and when people took care of him, they'd find lice and all sorts of things on his body. And the whole body was full of dust and dirt. But in their case, of course, the whole entire system, all the cells and all are purified and glowing with divine power. And even if they don't have a bath for a week, there's no smell at all from the body. See? So, these are some of the lessons that we've learned from her life. See? Continual repetition of God's name, looking at the entire universe. And she would always identify herself with everyone. If there was a death, Mother Krishna Bhai would be there and she would be weeping, she would be crying, just like any mother would do. You might wonder, but it's a great mystery of the saints that inwardly they know who they are, outwardly they behave like normal human beings. They identify themselves with everyone. If you have sorrow, then they will really be sorrowful with you. If you have joy, they will express joy. But they will be above joy and above sorrow. It's something that no one can understand unless you have a very deep knowledge and you know what dual consciousness means, then you'll know. Everyone also felt that Rama was not God. They said, how can Rama be an avatar? See how he's crying for Sita, he's running about crying for Sita, and yet everyone says he's an avatar. So one of the rishis questioned that. The other rishi said, all right, test him. You got psychic powers, change yourself in the form of Sita and stand before Rama and see what reaction comes. And the saint transformed himself as Sita, an exact replica of Sita. And Rama never looked at that Sita because he knew inwardly she was a false one. So the saints play a dual role. Outwardly they'll behave like human beings, like Lord Krishna and like Gurudev. Gurudev will say, I have worries and so on, I have pain and so on. But inwardly they'll be jnanis. So Mother Krishna Bhai often says, I've got fear and I've got no fear. I've got fear, but I'm above fear. So they can move in any state. And so it's very difficult for us to understand these saints. We often think that they are favoring one person and they like this person more and they like that person. People have foolish ideas. They think that the saints are like ordinary people that you see in the streets. They like one person more and like the other person less. They go with all sorts of this queer and they watch all these things. They don't go for blessing. They go and see what the saints are giving to this person and that person and how much is talking to this person and how less to that person, and the whole mind gets clouded. See? They don't sit far and sit quietly and try to absorb, but they see all these things. So when we go to the ashrams, we don't benefit by the darshan. See? All these petty ideas come into the mind. The saints do give attention to some people. They might give attention to more. And Mother Krishna Bhai puts it very beautifully. She says that if you have 5 fingers, and if one finger is sore, naturally you're going to treat that one sore finger. That doesn't mean to say you like that sore finger more. So if a person is very bad and evil, naturally he should get more attention. So Gurudev is to look after those evil people more and give them more fruits and sweets than the others. But we don't understand that at all. I know many people, when some rich people also, they said, oh, Gurudev didn't treat me properly. They never gave a cent there, but they expected royal treatment. They never part with anything. So we must never go and judge, try to judge a sannyasin or a swami or a saint. It's very, very difficult. They are very funny people. Once a very big lawyer was going to see one of the desert fathers. And the desert father didn't lie. They can see from a distance what type of people are coming. See? So what the desert father did, he went outside with a big pot, there was food, and he started eating like a barbarian with both hands. And the lawyer came and got so disgusted, he went right back. The desert father said, I've got rid of him. So if you go with an evil motive, they'll do something very funny, these saints. And they'll cloud your mind more. They'll make your mind more clouded. See? If you go with doubts and if you go with jealousy in your mind, then something will happen to inflame that jealousy. But if you go with a pure mind and not expect anything, see, nothing whatsoever, and try to imbibe the power, then you'll get everything. There was one great rishi, a great saint in Madras. He was always found by the market. And he used to go about like a madman. And no one knew it at all. Every day they used to see this fellow and they thought he was stark mad. But one devotee, he had very great bhakti, you see. So he found out, he said, no, this person, it looks a rather mysterious person. So he followed this person to the forest. He wanted to see where he was going. So in the evening, he went to the forest and this devotee followed him, and he found that he was a great saint, and he got a beautiful talk on Krishna Bhakti. And many of the saints, believe it or not, in India, some of them are like barbarians, and some of them will grow their nails very big, and they won't cut their hair like some of you here. See? In that case, well, don't feel that all those long hair are great rishis here now. But what I'm trying to say is that the scriptures give a description of these people. That's why India is such a marvelous country, you see. You'll find any type of these saints move about in any garb. See? And they'll behave in a very unconventional manner.
Krishna Mukunda Murari Krishna Mukunda Murari Jaya Krishna Mukunda Murari Jaya Krishna Mukunda Murari Jaya Krishna Mukunda Murari Karuna Sagaram Kamalanayaga Karuna Sagaram Kamalanayaga Karuna Sagara Kamalanayaga Karuna Sagara Kamalanayaga Kanagambara Dari Gopala Kanagambara Dari Gopala Kanagambara Dari Gopala Krishna Mukunda Murari Jaya Krishna Mukunda Murari Kaliyamartanam Kamsani Sudana Kaliyamartanam Kamsani Sudana Kaliyamartanam Kamsani Sudana Kaliyamartanam Kamsani Sudana Kamala Jaga Nayana Gopala Kamala Jaga Nayana Gopala Kamala Jaga Nayana Gopala Krishna கூடில குண்டலும் குவளைய தளநீலம் மதுரம் முரளீரவளோணும் கோடி மதனம் லாவண்யம் கோபி புண்ணியம் பஜாமி கோபாலம் கோபி ஜன மனமோகன வியாபகம் கோபி ஜன மனமோகன வியாபகம் கோபி ஜன மனமோகன வியாபகம் கோபி ஜன மனமோகன வியாபகம் குவளைய தள்ளநீரா கோபாலா குவளைய தள்ளநீரா கோபாலா குவளைய தள்ளநீரா கோபாலா கிருஷ்ணா முகுந்தா முராரி ஜெய கிருஷ்ணா முகுந்தா முராரி ஜெய கிருஷ்ணா முகுந்தா முராரி முராரி शिवानंद जी सजन यही समय आओ शरण स्वामी शिवानंद जी की सजन यही समय आओ शरण स्वामी शिवानंद जी की सजन यही समय आओ चल कपट और झूठ को त्यागो चल कपट और झूठ को त्यागो सत्य में सब ध्यान लगाओ चल कपट और झूठ को त्यागो सत्य में सब ध्यान लगाओ जय जय स्वामी जय 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 स्वामी ऋषिकेश वासा आपका जय जयकार हो जय जय स्वामी ऋषिकेश वासा आपका जय जयकार हो शरण स्वामी शिवानंद जी के सजन यही समय आओ हाथ जोड़ करके विनती हम तेरे ही चरणों में शीश निभाओ हाथ जोड़ करके विनती हम तेरे ही चरणों में शीश निभाओ जय जय स्वामी जय 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 स्वामी सद्गुरु नादा तेरे ही गुण हम सब मिल गाओ जय जय स्वामी सद्गुरु नादा तेरे ही गुण हम सब मिल गाओ शरण स्वामी शिवानंद जी की सजन यही समय आओ स्वामी शिवानंद कह गए वाणी। स्वामी शिवानंद कह गए वाणी, स्वामी शिवानंद कह गए वाणी, स्वामी शिवानंद कह गए वाणी। Serve, love, give, purify, meditate, realize. Swami Shivananda कह गए वाणी। Serve, love, give, purify, meditate, realize. जय जय स्वामी, जय जय, जय जय स्वामी ऋषिकेश वासा। आपका जय जयकार हो, जय जय स्वामी ऋषिकेश वासा। आपका जय जयकार हो। शरण स्वामी शिवानंद जी की सज्जन यही समय आओ। शरण स्वामी शिवानंद जी की सज्जन यही समय आओ। Thou art the sweetness which I do seek. Thou art my life, thou art my love. Thou art the sweetness which I do seek. In the thought my love brought, in the thought by my love brought, I taste thy name, so sweet, so sweet. In the thought by my love brought, I taste thy name, so sweet, so sweet. Devotee knows how sweet you are. Devotee knows how sweet you are. He knows whom you let know. He knows whom you let know. Thou art my life, thou art my love. Thou art the sweetness which I do seek. Thou art my life, thou art my love. Thou art the sweetness which I do seek. In the thought my love brought, in the thought by my love brought, I taste thy name, so sweet, so sweet. In the thought my love brought, I taste thy name, so sweet, so sweet. Devotee knows how sweet you are. Devotee knows how sweet you are. He knows whom you let know. He knows whom you let know. Ram Ram Jai Raja Ram, Ram Ram Jai Sita Ram. Ram Ram Jai Raja Ram, Ram Ram Jai Sita Ram. Ram Ram Jai Raja Ram, Ram Ram Jai Sita Ram. Ram Ram Jai Raja Ram, Ram Ram Jai Sita Ram. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Pati पतित पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरे नाम सबको सन्मति दे भगवान 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 भगवान शिवानंद जय जय राम भगवान शिवानंद राम 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 भगवान शिवानंद जय जय राम भगवान शिवानंद राम 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 भगवान शिवानंद जय जय राम भगवान शिवानंद राम 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 भगवान शिवानंद जय जय राम भगवान शिवानंद राम 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 जय राजा राम 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 जय सीताराम राम राम जय राजा राम 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 जय सीताराम शिवानंदाय ओम नमो भगवते 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 शिवानंदाय लक्ष्मण भाई, आगे आगे राम चलते हैं, पीछे लक्ष्मण भाई, दोनों के बीच में जानकी माई, दोनों के बीच में जानकी माई, चलत चलत बनवासी, चलत चलत बनवासी, जब राम चले बनवास, संग में जानकी माई, हो जब राम चले बनवास, संग में जानकी माई। जासु नाम सुमिरे कबारा, उतरहि नर भव सिंधु अपारा, जासु नाम सुमिरे कबारा, उतरहि नर भव सिंधु अपारा, पद पकारी जल पान करी, पद पकारी जल पान करी, केवट पार गंगा प्रभु लाई, केवट पार गंगा प्रभु लाई, जब राम चले बनवास, संग में जानकी माई, हो जब राम चले बनवास, संग में जानकी माई। आगे आगे राम चलते हैं, पीछे लक्ष्मण भाई, आगे आगे राम चलते हैं, पीछे लक्ष्मण भाई, दोनों के बीच में जानकी माई, दोनों के बीच में जानकी माई, चलत चलत बनवासी, चलत चलत बनवासी, जब राम चले बनवास, संग में जानकी माई, हो जब राम चले बनवास, संग में जानकी माई। कोमल कोमल पाँव चले रे, ठंडी छाँव मिले रे, कोमल कोमल पाँव चले रे, ठंडी छाँव मिले रे, कांच पर दो कमल खिले रे, कांच पर दो कमल खिले रे, रोए स्वयं विश्वास, रोए स्वयं विश्वास, जब राम चले बनवास, संग में जानकी माई, हो जब राम चले बनवास, संग में जानकी माई। आगे आगे राम चलते हैं, पीछे लक्ष्मण भाई, आगे आगे राम चलते हैं, पीछे लक्ष्मण भाई, दोनों के बीच में जानकी माई, दोनों के बीच में जानकी माई, चलत चलत बनवासी, चलत चलत बनवासी, जब राम चले बनवास, संग में जानकी माई, हो जब राम चले बनवास, संग में जानकी पीछे लक्ष्मण भाई, आगे आगे राम चलत है, पीछे लक्ष्मण भाई, दोनों के बीच में जानकी माई, दोनों के बीच में जानकी माई, चलत चलत वनवासी, चलत चलत वनवासी, जब राम चले वनवास, संग में जानकी माई, ओ जब राम चले वनवास, संग में जानकी माई। ओम नमो नारायणाय, 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 ओम नमो नारायण। जब राम चले वनवास, संग में जानकी माई, ओ जब राम चले वनवास, संग में जानकी माई। आगे आगे राम चलत है, पीछे लक्ष्मण भाई, आगे आगे राम चलत है, पीछे लक्ष्मण भाई, दोनों के बीच में जानकी माई, दोनों के बीच में जानकी माई, चलत चलत वनवासी, चलत चलत वनवासी, जब राम चले वनवास, संग में जानकी माई, ओ जब राम चले वनवास, संग में जानकी माई।
I'm sure the devotees of the Verulam branch deserve another round of applause for that beautiful dance item. Om, kindly take note of the following important announcements. Our monthly yoga camp will take place on Sunday, the 21st of July at the Sivananda International Cultural Centre. This is an inter-house athletics and novelty sports camp. The camp commences at 6 a.m. and concludes at 12:15 p.m. All are lovingly invited to attend. Breakfast and lunch prasad will be served. Sri Gurudev's 56th Mahasamadhi, according to the Sanskrit calendar, will be observed on Friday, the 26th of July. Ganga Arati at the Sivananda Ashram in Reservoir Hills commences at 5:30 p.m., followed by Satsang thereafter. Supper Prasad will be served. Our branch Satsang, hosted by our Pitamarisbeg branch, as part of our 70th anniversary celebrations, will be held at the Sivananda Ashram, corner Mysore and Lao Roads, Northdale, Pitamarisbeg, on Sunday, the 28th of July, 2019. The program commences with a morning sadhana session, Bhagavad Gita recital and Havan at 8 a.m., followed by breakfast. Ganga Arati and Satsang commences at 10 a.m., followed by lunch prasad. All are invited. Divine Life Society of South Africa will be undertaking the 41-day Sri recital of the Sri Hanuman Chalisa. The launch will take place on Tuesday, the 30th of July 2019 at Sivananda Ashram in Reservoir Hills, commencing with Ganga Arati at 5:30 p.m., followed by the recital of the Sri Hanuman Chalisa 11 times. Daily recitals will be done at the Sivananda Ashram and at SICC from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. Devotees may join in at our ashrams or recite the Sri Hanuman Chalisa at their homes. The final recital will take place on Sunday, the 8th of September coinciding with our Master's birth anniversary celebrations and the Sivananda conference, when we have a stadium function at this ashram. Pledge forms are still available. You can get them at the bookstall. The Society will be distributing 1,000 grocery hampers costing 250 Rand each during the auspicious Guru Purnima period. Devotees are encouraged to contribute towards this initiative by making donations at our office, bookstore, or via any of our fundraisers. We remind branch officials that the hampers are available for you to collect at Rose Heights. Supper Prasad will be served after Satsang. Senior citizens are lovingly invited to take your Supper Prasad at the dining hall downstairs. The rest of us will proceed to the upper main dining hall complex. We lovingly remind you regarding the rule of silence during meals. Please visit our bookstalls for our latest centenary celebrations, centenary publications, namely the newly released Ramayana for children for 10 rands, the 70th anniversary brochure, which will cost 10 rands. Also available are CDs, attractive picture frames, home shrines, and our 3-month calendar containing details of functions until the 1st of August. We also have a special item, which is Wisdom of Sivananda DVD, Volume 1 and 2 for 50 Rand. Normally sells for 60 Rands. We have one other announcement. A Visa credit card was found at the bookstore. The owner of that can kindly contact me immediately after Satsang. Puja Swamiji has given elaborate descriptions in our books of the value of the Mahamrityunjaya Mantra, Agnihotra, and Sri Hanuman Chalisa. Devotees are urged to continue with this practice regularly for their own safety and protection. Agnihotra will also help to bring rain. As per Puja Swamiji's advice, the Mahamrityunjaya Mantra should be repeated all the time while driving. If you cannot repeat the mantra all the time, then we should repeat it as much as possible. It will help to prevent accidents, robberies, hijackings, and other calamities. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. 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 Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Vandana Mrityurmukshirmamritat. 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 ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव वन्दनात् मृत्योर्मुक्ष्यमामृतात् 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 ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव वन्दनात् मृत्योर्मुक्ष्यमामृतात्।
श्री सद्गुरुदेव की जय। जय जय आरती विघ्न विनायक विघ्न विनायक श्री गणेश जय जय आरती वेणुगोपाला वेणुगोपाला वेणुलोला पाप विदूरा नवनीत चोरा जय जय आरती वेंकटरमणा वेंकटरमणा संकटहरणा सीतारामा राधे श्यामा जय जय आरती गौरी मनोहर गौरी मनोहर भवानी शंकरा शंभो सदाशिव उमा महेश्वरा जय जय आरती राजराजेश्वरी राजराजेश्वरी त्रिपुर सुंदरी महासरस्वती महालक्ष्मी महाकाली महाशक्ति जय जय आरती अंजनेया अंजनेया हनुमंता जय जय आरती दत्तात्रेय दत्तात्रेय तिरुमूर्ति अवतारा जय जय आरती सद्गुरुनादा सद्गुरुनादा भगवान शिवानंदा सद्गुरुनादा भगवान विश्वानंदा जय जय आरती विघ्न विनायक ओम सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मंगलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः
सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्माहविः ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्मकर्मा समाधिना। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। श्री सद्गुरु भगवान की जय।